Good morning, good day, good evening, whatever your time zone may be, doesn't matter. You are here for VRL and VRL only, and today we are here in the beautiful land of Brazil, where we have an amazing title decider on the hands. Well, I say title decider, but that's yet to be seen. Sam can very much clinch the championship today if he managed to outscore a lot of people. It's a very big list, I must say, as there are still mathematically 6 people in this championship fight. So it's a very big list, but moral of the story is Sam can clinch the championship here today in Brazil. Whether he'll be able to, it's the question that will be answered after the race, of course. But he's looking very good here today. I want you to fear the grid, as Alex is still unable to join us just for now. He will be joining us in qualifying. Now, the grid then. Ryan Alibal and Phil in the Mercedes here. No one at Ferrari just yet. PMP, Cash G at Red Bull. Felix and Tim at Renault. Dylan at Haas. No one at McLaren just yet. Sam and Luke. We have Sam, the other Sam, Baxter, Avesta Racing, Plausible, and Arable Gamer, who just has his new teammate alongside him after he switched from Toro Rosso to Williams, and he will now try to help his teammate win the championship there. Be interesting to see if Sam can actually win it here today. It's not a gold given here. I'm sure I'll be able to get a chat up here. I'm just gonna get the chat up here to see what interesting stuff you guys have to say. I hope you have had a good day up till now. Stein here, a big day for you as well. You can clinch the drivers' world title, and you are still very much within a shot of the constructors here, so exciting day for you. You were up early, I saw earlier today. We do miss some drivers here today as they participated in 24 hours of Formula 1 race, so they will not be here today. Be sure to let me know if you think Sam will be able to clinch the Drivers' World title here today in Brazil. It's an interesting one, and I will keep you updated with the standings throughout this race to see if he can clinch the title here today. After 12 rounds, it's very much closer than it was last season. Obviously, Brazil is not the season ender here. It's the second last race as we move on to Abu Dhabi for the season final there. Just waiting for the drivers to go out to the track here today. We are still waiting on Alex as he's having some technical issues, I've just heard. Fuel leak, he says. Obviously, Mercedes still have a shot at the constructors as well. They're just behind. They're just ahead of Williams and just behind. Well, I mean, just 85 points behind Racing Point here. So I mean, you never know. You never know. This is Formula One. Anything can happen. But they're gonna need a miracle if they want to win this championship. Ryan's also very much still within the title fight here today. It's a Kimi last fight. Everyone's Scottish. Personally, I'd like to give you an answer. Basically, there isn't, but you know it is what it is, I suppose. It's a bit of an inside joke. Started by Ryan here, who's a massive David Coulthard fan. So DC he represents. And we are prepared to go onto the track here. 15 people here in Brazil, as I said. Some might miss the race because of the 24-hour race at another league. I can't really remember the name of, to be honest, but they are participating in that. I hope we can have Alex soon with us. So we have Andre Jamil 29, who is obviously just Jamil F1. He's just changed his username. We are waiting for him to ready up, and then we can go racing or qualifying, I should say, here in Brazil. We are waiting for the first car to go out. Who can win this race then? I see some movement at the Mercedes garage. I believe that's Phil. Will he be the first one to go out? No, there's also some movement at the Renault garage. Who will be out first here today? I believe it's the Renault Felix. But the Williams have jumped him as they're now both in front of him. They've gone at the same time. And as Felix is in a Renault sandwich, traffic can be a bit of a difficult one here in this race, as Jamil left the session as he's having some internet issues. Traffic could be a problem here in Brazil. It's a tight circuit with not many runoff spaces here. Well, not many runoff spaces that are not grass, I should say. Especially here, very difficult to get out of the way. Let's see what Benjamin can do in his new Williams car. Look behind Phil. So both their teammates still within a shot to win this championship. Sam here, back for another race. Things haven't gone well for him, I must say, since his return. Nearly got onto the podium in Silverstone, but things have not been the same for him since then. I believe he hasn't scored many points. But here to fight Another day for Alfa Romeo, who've been struggling thus far this season. I believe they're last or second last in this championship. Not the success they would have wanted, especially considering last season they were fighting for the championship here. They ended up second, but after their main man Steve left the team, Marcos staying there for last season, but he was not able to perform, and things have not been the same since then for Alfa Romeo. Jamil back in the game. Ben on his first lap in his Williams. Can he beat his teammate here already? As teammates in his first race, as teammates, no, he does finish ahead of him, but he's beaten by Felix and Phil, who both go P1 and P2. As Luke comes in P1 with a 17.8. Very good lap time by him, as he's 2:10, or I should say, yeah, basically 2:10s ahead of the rest of the competition. Very close between Felix, Luke, and Phil. Dylan comes home P4. Plausible comes home in a P5 position, and Benjamin comes home in P6, ahead of his teammate Dafifa with a 1:8.5. 9, sorry, I should say. That's my mistake. Is he going for another lap here? He's a 10th down on his previous time. I believe he is coming into the pits. Tim now comes home in front of his teammate, and there's a very tight gap at the front here between the top 4. Sam still in the pits. Jamil now out on track to get some experience, you almost would say. Obviously, it's been a long time since he's driven here in Vrl F1. Obviously, he's been active in Vrl F2 most of the season. As I can see, I've already made another mistake here. I will very much put track map on, because you are so kindly. Only because you are so kindly every time. Let's go on board with Jamil on his first lap here in his home race, I believe. Yes, home race. Obviously, he's from Brazil. Turn 1, center S's. You need to be careful. You really have to be. It's very important that you attack those, but it's also very important you focus on your next exit, as there's a long straight coming after that. Late braking here. You want to really hit the apex here and let it run out and exit. This is a tricky one. You need to be careful you don't lose the car here on this curb, or perhaps even on the braking, as Lewis Hamilton once did in 2017 here in qualifying. A very technical section here. You really don't want to go throwing in the car here and perhaps lose a lot of time. This is in my opinion, one of the harder parts of the circuit. Now coming to this almost, I would say full throttle left-hander there, and then coming up to the fine. I believe this is considered as a turn, and there's someone on the racing line there. Jamil managed to avoid him. And he's going up to the line for what's going to be a 1:8.5 ahead of Avesta Racing and FIFA and P&P Casg. What can Sam do? Man, he's fighting for the championship here today in Brazil. A lot of pressure on him, but he has said he does not feel that pressure. Is he gonna show it here? He's not feeling the pressure. He's gonna come home in a decent P5 ahead of Dylan and behind Phil. And I can hear someone unmuting themselves. It's Alex. Welcome, Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Apologies for the delay. How's qualifying been so far?
It's been a very interesting qualifying thus far. Sam comes home in a P5 for now. 11 minutes remaining in the session, as you can see, and Sam's teammate Luke is on pole position for now. It's been a very eventful qualifying, and I believe there is some rain here, so that could put end to a qualifying session that was looking like it was only gonna get better here. And some rain is gonna spice up the field here. That could be a very difficult challenge for the likes of Marine, who are now P10. And it's on to rain, and it's on to rain very hard and very fast. So
especially
he has to get a move on.
As well, who's just coming through the final sector now. His lap's going to be affected. To be fair, I think he's only about half a tenth down on Luke, which is, yeah, fair effort, considering he's conducted half of this lap in them wet conditions. He's going to get the DRS now. It hasn't been disabled yet, as he activates it as he crosses the line.
Oh, it's P15. Very, very unlucky for the Belgium here, who has a title to fight for, and this is not the way you would have liked to start that title challenge.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the final grid, Sam. I
think it is.
No one's going to be improving, so it's going to be Luke on pole, claiming another pole position. He won last time out, ahead of Felix, who's done a good job up in P2.
And this is
Tim P3, Renault 2-3, important for the Constructors' Championship, Renault currently leading.
Yeah, obviously they are very much leading with the how do you say, the hot breath of Racing Point in the necks, but they are still very much leading. Obviously it was a bit of a challenge, and DRS has now been disabled, so this is the third time we've had such a scenario. I'm not sure if you can remember all three of them, but we had one in Austria, we had one in Japan, and now in the third one as well here in Brazil. It'll be interesting to see if it will rain in the race.
Yeah, and it's obviously going to be interesting to see where the drivers have put their setups. If it is raining in the race, obviously we don't know anything of that so far. If it's raining in the race, have the drivers gone for a more dry orientated setup to get a good lap here in qualifying, or if they try to maximise the pace in the race? Of course, this could all be speculation, and it could end up being
dry.
completely dry. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
For our sake, entertainment, let's hope it's wet.
Well, you know, you never know. Only 15 drivers today. I saw Steve join.
Yeah.
A moment ago, but 16.
Some drivers were at the 24 hours race of another league. I can't remember the name, excuse me, sorry. But some people are participating in a 24-hour F1 race, so people who are there, we wish them great luck, but they're not here today at least, so we've had a lot of close field. And the biggest story probably today here is probably going to be Darfifo, who's going to start from last place. He didn't manage to get our lap in quickly enough to improve on us.
First lap.
Wasn't good enough.
It wasn't good enough. He might have made a mistake or just not pulled it together. And by the time he got out again to correct that mistake, it was wet and there's nothing he could do.
Very close between the top 4 here. Or perhaps even the top 5 or top 6. It's separated about 2/10.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting into the race to see to see who can come out on top. Obviously, I'm sure you've mentioned it before, Sam. We've got a big championship fight on our hands. This being the penultimate round of VRL Season 4.
Yes, it has been, and I must say, I'm not a professional weatherman, but I must say it's a bit overcast, and that could spice up things later in the race. I'm just gonna ask in the chat if what the weather is looking like. Let's hope one of the drivers will reply. Dry. So Dylan just confirmed to me it's a completely dry race, and there will not be any rain here settling today here in Brazil. But that should not damper the fun.
No pun intended.
No, no. And Luke leads away here in the formation lap. Felix behind him. Sam, perhaps not the position he would have liked to be in. It's P5. Still, everything is possible. 4 positions, and you're in the lead already. But it's not the ideal situation to be in. Renaults are looking very strong here.
Yeah, I mean, Renault have consistently been pretty strong qualifiers. And yeah, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, they've got a championship to fight for in the constructors.
They have.
In terms of the drivers, as I mentioned, Sam only 5th. His main championship rival being
FIFA. Yeah,
down
15th.
But other championship rivals such as Felix up in 2nd. So I actually have a graphic provided by our wonderful sponsors, Hot Lap Mode.
Cheers.
So thank you to them. You can follow them on Instagram or on Twitter at Hot Lap Mode.
Or both.
Yeah. You know, if you're feeling a little bit edgy.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a little update before we get going. Drivers lining up on the grid. So if Sam, you know, Del FIFA has to finish P4 if Sam is winning the race with the fastest lap. Bear in mind, Del FIFA needs to score points today to keep himself in the championship fight.
He does. What does this mean for the Red Light boys who are P2 and P3 right now? Are they still able to, if they finish like this, will they be able to take it into the last round?
In terms of constructors wise, or we'll come back to that later.
Yeah, we'll come back to that later as we wait on Farvet Launch to release 16 drivers here in Brazil for a possible title decider here. Very exciting. They go out and away we go here with Luke from pole position, and Felix seems to have a worse start than him, and he has to be careful he doesn't get overtaken by his teammate, but he's having none of it and he throws himself down the inside. They wheel bang coming into turn 1. Felix on the outside of 4 turn 2 there, and his teammate smelling some opportunity to go and take that P2 off of him. And Phil's right in the middle between the rental guys. Is he going to hold it in there? No, he backs out of the move very wisely. And Tim's now up to P2. Felix still fighting, still having that hope to keep that P2. He's gained it back. Phil now in the outside of Tim there. They make contact. He's been pushed right there a little bit. Sam's under pressure from Plausible there. And Phil remains in P4. And Felix keeps also his P2 there. And Tim remains in P3 as well. So the top 4 very much unchanged.
Yeah, they were all very well behaved, a little bit further down as well. It's a lot of racing, there's a lot of cars all together. It's a Torosso Vesta Racing.
Oh, Dylan out of the race. He has spun, and will he be able to get that car back onto the grid to still perhaps pick up some good points there? That will surely not have done his tyre wear any favours.
Yeah, his front wing looks alright, so he'll be able to continue, but with no safety car, he's going to really struggle.
Yeah, he is, and like I said, I mean, it was 130 degrees round, so yeah, he needed to get his car back around with a little bit of a spin there. That's not doing the tires any favors. And Steve, meanwhile, moved up to P12 from P16 now, so good job to him. Obviously, he can still win this title, but he needs a miracle.
Yeah, look a little bit further back, Sam. Looks like we got the 2 Alfa Romeos mugging off Marine. Marine was up in 8th, he's just lost 2 positions, and he's now down to 10th position. So, a really poor start for Marine. Brett getting all out of shape.
Looking very dire for the Dutchman here, who needs to outscore Sam if he wants to keep the championship fight alive.
Yeah, if I do say so myself, I do not think Marine's going to be staying in this championship for much longer.
I don't believe that either. Oh, Brad meanwhile has gone loose there, so he will be able to pick up that P9 if he's got the run on him. Yes, he has so. And Brad's still holding in there.
As well. Could we get an Alonso and Massa and Webber 2010 moment? He's going to look to the inside. Can he go down the inside if he backs out of it pretty smartly? But Brett really taking it to the GPRL Season 3 and 4 champion.
Yeah, he has, but Marine is not giving up easily. He still has that hope. He still has that fighting spirit to keep fighting and get the best out of this race here. Meanwhile, Sam, he's not. I wouldn't say he will be struggling, but has he got the blistering pace he had last race in USA? I don't believe so.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It looks like Sam's rocking a little bit of a special helmet here today. Just noticed that, the green and the yellow. Nice touch for Interlagos.
Yes, just like you yesterday in.
Yeah.
After
I did choose the Ayrton Senna tribute helmet. I'm not sure if any of the other drivers have gone for that. It's a little touch. Doesn't give them any pace advantage, but it's a nice little thing
it is.
to have. Just in terms of the gaps, DRS is enabled this lap. Drivers will have it down the main straight. DRS can be quite powerful here, so if you're in the slipstream and the tow and the DRS,
Yeah, Felix fastest lap.
Yeah, you see Felix says he's closed up to within half a second of Luke. Last week claimed his first win in his VRL career, but Felix is looking quite punchy at the moment. Someone like Sam now, down in 8th, is going to struggle. He's got 2 seconds to the car ahead. Other than Avesta Racing and Dylan, who both had incidents themselves on the first lap, Sam is the only driver without DRS, bar Luke, of course, in the lead of the race. So I think that's not going to benefit him. And he may start to drop off, and we might see a gap emerge between Ardipal Gamer and Sam down in 8th, which could create a pit stop window for someone like Luke, Felix or Tim.
It could, and it might be a little early, obviously, to think about it, but I'm just so interested in it. How's the championship looking right now?
Right now, I will check it against the graphic, but and I will try and keep you updated as possible throughout the race. Currently, with Sam finishing 5th, he's under no threat from Darth FIFA, but Felix, Sam finishing 5th, Felix has to finish 9th, and Felix is well in with that, and is even taking the fight to Sam's teammate Luke, and he's right up behind him now. But yeah, it's not enough. Marine will provisionally drop out of championship contention, and Tim will also stay within championship contention. Steve needs to win the race today, and I don't think that's going to happen. So that's a little championship update for you.
Yes, things are looking good for the Renner boys here, who keep in contention for the driver championship and will extend their lead in the constructors.
Looks like PMP, Cassie G getting past Brett. They're going to be side by side up the hill. It's really good racing. Rubbing is racing here. And down the inside goes the Red Bull. This is for the final championship point, and he's very aggressive, but a good move. Clean, a little bit dirty, but majority clean move. He's up into 10th. He's dropped out the DRS from the car ahead, which could hinder him.
And Steve is looking to pick up the final championship point. A man who's, I'm not sure. You don't say this to me, but I believe he's won most races this season, together with
Steve?
Felix. Yeah, he won 2, didn't he?
Did he win in Baku?
Yeah, he won in Baku, and was that it? Oh, I mean, he is definitely going for a move from Baxter here for P11. He's not going to go give him any championship points, but with PMP Cashy just ahead of him, that could soon change. If he gets a job done here, the FIFA still hanging in there as well to pick up that P11. The FIFA down the inside, maybe no. It's the battle between Baxter and Steve. Steve off track there. Yeah, and he lives to fight another day, Baxter does.
Yeah, obviously, as I mentioned, the DRS is quite important. Talking about DRS, championship leader Sam has dropped out of DRS from Phil ahead, so he's now going to be left at big risk from Plojabol and Ardipal Gamer. And if he drops down to 7th, Sam just seemingly struggling a little bit here today.
He does. Maybe it's not his circuit, and coming up to Abu Dhabi, I'm not sure what his pace is there, but you might want to get the job done earlier than later.
Of course, I think Plojabol might go for a move here. He has a little luck, not quite enough, but he's looking very punchy, and I've got my money on Plojabol to make a move. Meanwhile, Marine getting past Sam for 8th. Marine's not had a great run of form recently, and it's a shame to see, but I think he's going to drop out of championship contention after today, unless he gets a big move on.
Yeah. And the FIFA, if it stays like this, will he also be out of championship contention?
Yes, he will.
Yes. He does have his teammate just behind the championship leader Sam here. Obviously, Benjamin came over from Toro Rosso to help the FIFA win the championship. He's doing the best he can, but the problem for him is that his teammate is all the way down in 13th and is not looking like he can take it through to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, just a little correction there. Sam actually currently finishing 5th. That's not enough for Darth FIFA to drop out of contention. If Sem finishes third and Darthifa doesn't score any points, that is the point where Darthifa will drop out of championship contention. So apologies there.
No problem. It's a big graphic. I've seen it. It's a hard one to keep track of.
If anybody watching would like to keep up with the championship standings themselves, they are on the Vision Racing League Instagram page. That's Vision Racing League on Instagram. Please do go and have a look and keep up with yourself. Dylan has left the session, so his day's gone from bad to worse. I was talking to him today about strategy, as we do have, obviously with me being a driver in Haas and F2. He said that, you know, he had a few tricks up his sleeve. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to have the chance to use them.
No, early spin on lap 1 basically ruined this race, and it was going to be a very much of an uphill battle. Meanwhile, Felix is only 3/10 behind Livered Racing Luke here. Luke will have to do a lot to defend the championship lead for his teammate. Obviously, his teammate did give him, or quote unquote, give him the win in USA.
Well, he didn't fight it, did he?
No.
No way did he fight it. But, you know, will them, 7 points that Sem lost come back to bite him in the final round of the season? Felix currently up in P2. If he takes the win today, I'm not entirely sure of the gap, and I'll check a little bit later on in the race. But, you know, he's got to be closing up provisionally right now.
And we talked about it just after the race here in USA. Even with the press conference, we said to Sam, are you not worried that you just gifted the win here to Luke? Are you not worried about those points? As you said, will come back to bite you. I mean, it could be. It could very much be, and he might smash his head against the door if that might be the case. But let's not jump to the conclusions too quick. He is still the championship leader.
Well, there's 52 championship points up for grabs now with this race and the next race in Abu Dhabi, so it's really all to play for, and that's a lot of points. But obviously, it's highly unlikely that you know, Sam's going to end up retiring from both races, and someone like Moran's going to win them both with the fastest lap. Nevertheless, it's not impossible. No. So we'll have to see.
If my eyes don't deceive me, I believe Luke has got to be on a more low down for setup, which is keeping him ahead of right now. But if he is a little bit loose, like here right now, that could give Felix an opportunity to take into the lead. Only 2/10 behind.
But I think Felix is quite happy to sit behind in the DRS and get towed along, because as we saw yesterday in the F2 race, and as we see with every league race around here, it's very hard for the drivers to manage their ERS. Meanwhile, Ploshtabov has got past Sem.
Big gains in the championship for Felix, Tim, and perhaps even Marine and FIFA.
And Ardapal Gamer in the Williams, who was battling with those two, has pit, so he's gone for an undercut strategy. It's an early stop onto medium tyres. It's doable.
It could work.
It could work, but he might have to be a little bit careful as the race nears its conclusion. But, you know, if he can set some good laps, as we've got Steve now going around the outside of Brett. Brett giving him a good squeeze. Dylan's back in the session.
Felix, look at Felix, look at Felix! On the outside of the teammate of his championship rival here on the green stuff. You have to keep it on the grey stuff though to make that move done, and he's got the move done. And coming through the center axis, he's in the lead. Immediately makes a little bit of a gap, 3/10 that is. But Luke does have the DRS here, I believe. Can he do anything back to Felix here? No, I don't believe he can. And Felix is in the lead for now.
Luke's got about half the bar of DRS than what Felix does, which is the effect of going up into the lead of this race.
It is.
Sorry, the effect of St. Patrick's. Luke's gone wide. He made a little mistake there. He managed to hold that quite well. But yeah, as I was saying, with
DRS.
Yeah, with the DRS, he can sit behind, conserve his ERS, and then obviously use that power. Now he's out in front.
Oh no! Would you believe it? His day has gone from bad to worse, and it will be a difficult task to take that championship fight in Abu Dhabi. His teammate's still on the race. The man who was brought in. I can't see. That's the problem. I wish
replays.
Yeah.
But a little bit further forward, we might be able to see on board.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah. Oh no! Look where he's parked.
Felix has gone wide. That's obviously put Felix off. He's gone very wide and is now under massive threat from the racing point of Luke. Luke with DRS now, going to go round the outside into turn number 4. Can't quite get that move done. Well held from Felix. We got the stop starting to play out now. Sam in the pits onto the medium tyre. And I think what happened with Del FIFA is he's crashed in the pit lane. But then the game's obviously ghosted him back out to the track, and that really put Felix off. He made a mistake. Went wide.
Phil on Tim! Oh my goodness, sorry I cut you off there, but Phil just went for a little bit of an optimistic move there on Tim, and they made contact, and I thought Tim was going to spin round there, but they've both gone through unscathed. And
yeah, I was running on board with Tim, and he had a bit of a slide, but you know, no harm done. I don't know if Phil's got some damage. He seems to have dropped back a little bit, but it's all very close. It's all very close. But what Luke needs to do now is just, you know, regroup, sit in the DRS, and you know, try and bring his ERS levels back up, because it contains a lot. It uses a lot of ERS to sit in front and stay ahead, especially with guys like Felix who have a lot of ERS to deploy.
He could be on for a move here again. He
looks close.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be enough here.
No, no. A little bit further back, championship leader Sam into the pits, medium tyre, earlier than a few others, followed in by Marine.
Audible Gamer ahead,
perhaps. So much further ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Just so has Sam just lost another place?
Is that 7th position now?
7th, I believe. 7th, because Marine was in 8th. Audible Gamer was, yeah, I believe he's 7th right now. I mean, perhaps if he keeps up this pace, it's not going to be a question who's going to be in the title fight, but is he going to keep his championship lead? Because he's really struggling.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to have the blistering pace he had last week at USA. This is worrying times for Sam and the Racing Point team boss. Well, you got one driver up in the lead, one driver at risk of falling out the points. Luke comes
talking
into
about
the
those drivers.
By Tim. Tim goes right, so Tim's picked up a 5-second time penalty. He overtook Luke in the pit lane.
Ooh, that's... Now let's hope that 5-second time penalty will be worth it. Will Luke jump Tim once again here in the pit stop? No, he's behind Tim once again, but obviously, as you say, Tim has picked up that 5-second penalty. Jesus, sorry, excuse me.
5 seconds.
Yeah. And Phil's just on the gearbox of Luke here.
Yeah, it's all going to be really tight coming out the pit lane. Well, there's Ardipod Gamer, who is so much further behind. He's now brought himself into contention for a podium with this strategy. He's got to keep them tyres going to the end, though. That's the big thing.
Yeah, that he will. It's not going to be the question if he's going to struggle, but how much is he going to struggle near the end with those tyres.
Of course, of course.
Meanwhile, Dylan's off your screen is in the pit lane. And there, I must say there's a bit of traffic here with Steve or Faster Racing just for now, but Andre Jamil just in front of them.
Jamil running a new PSN for this race.
Bit confusing.
Yeah, it's alright. Yeah, Felix comes into the pits, follows the ball, follows him in. Another 5-second time penalty with the high-speed entrance of this pit lane. It's quite common to see drivers pick up penalties. Felix just about gets out without being held up by the Toro, so Steve's going to follow him in.
With that traffic, has he pulled a massive gap, or will the undercut be more effective here?
Well, there's a lot of traffic behind Jamil and Avesta racing. There's Felix coming out. It's going to be really close.
Oh, he's just
Avesta Racing going to get involved. They're going to be side by side. The runners into turn number 4. Who is going to go out ahead? They make a bit of contact. Felix maintains his lead. Crucially, Tim has put a car between himself and Luke as Luke gets past there now. I think Avesta
moves out of the way.
Slowing up. So fair play. But he's still really close behind Jamil. Looks like Brett is out the session. I'm not sure if he's just retired.
Avesta move, I'm not sure if you saw that, but everyone of Avesta Racing moved out of the way. It doesn't look like Jamil wants to do that.
Well, no, they're obviously gonna, well, you know, Jamil on the contra strategy. I don't think it's gonna work out too far, as everyone from 2nd down to 11th is separated by less than a second. There goes Felix past Jamil.
We should thank the back. We should thank the back markers here because they've punched everything right up here. And Tim goes
really
past
have.
Jamil, and it's a Renault 1-2, just as it was last week, a Racing Point 1-2 in USA. But now it's their time to shine, and now they're the ones in a 1-2 position. And the thing
He
is,
was close before.
yeah. It was, but I mean, the point I wanted to make here, Tim said before going into Japan, I want to help my teammate win this championship. He outscored Felix in Japan while Sam was not there, and now he could be coming back on that statement and trying to overtake his teammate, and that could end up in tears. I mean, you never know.
Made a really aggressive move on Jamil down the inside. They make a little bit of contact, but he's clean and through. And he needs to get a move on and try and get back in the DRS of Luke because he lost time battling. Yeah, Sam has got through. He's up into 6th now, so he's got back past Plushable, who's been caught up fighting Jamil. Has to go around the outside of him now, but Sam has got 2 laps older tyres than Plushable behind him, so that may come back to bite him.
So Sam did overtake Plushable again, because I believe Plushable was ahead of him after pit stop, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Plushable did manage to overtake him. I think he got held up in the traffic a little bit. I think Sam actually undercut him.
Yeah, that's correct, I believe. So
Moran's still fighting with Sam down in P9. This will become the battle for P8 once Jamil pits.
Like, it's looking like a tough day out here for Moran.
Moran's had quite a few tough days recently. He's just lost his pace, seemingly. Hopefully over the break between Season 4 and Season 5 he can, regroup. Maybe Moran needs a break.
He might do. I believe he also had some wheel issues.
Oh, okay.
It's not some pedal issues, I should say. That could be a factor, but, I'm not trying to make up excuses for him, but I'm just trying to lay out all the cards and to figure out this problem for him, but for now he's down in P8 and looking like a tough challenge to win this championship.
Yeah, I can imagine he'll be dropping out of contention today for the championship. Meanwhile, Phil, back within a second of Luke. So he's done a good job, as Tim gets a 3-second time penalty, another one to add to his calls.
As that happens, Pleasureball's now right back on the back of Sam here.
You got to think, how hard will Sam want to fight this? Because obviously he's got in the back of him on the championship. As much as he needs every point he can get, as
if he
Sam
crashes out.
Yeah, if he crashes out and gets no points, boom, championship lead gone.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is right now. I'm not sure if
yeah, of course, I'm not sure. But I'm just watching Moran and Sam going absolutely hammer and tongue at each other. They've been side by side throughout most of the first sector. Sam doing a good job up in P9. Oh, Moran's going to go down the inside a little bit Albon and Hamilton style from the real life 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix. But Sam stays ahead for the time being as we go back up the hill through Jun Cao.
Isn't it Jun Sao?
Jun Cao?
I believe it's Jun Sao, but anyway, Moran doesn't really care too much. He's on his main straight and will try to regain the position of Sam there, and he has very much done so. And Sam will have to tuck into the DRS on the second straight there to gain that P8 back. I don't believe he'll be able to do so, as Moran has created a bit of a gap towards the Senators there. I've just got... Oh! Moran a little bit loose there, and he's lost the position to Sam once again. I was just about to say, Hot Lap Mode did the standings for us. Liver Racing Sam, 139 points. Felix, 139 points for Sam there, and 136 for Felix. And I wonder what... And I wonder, Hot Lap Mode, obviously we're a bit occupied commentating, could you also figure out where Tim will end up in this whole story?
Yeah, sure, of course, yeah, it's not Felix, Felix leading the race. I think Tim's sort of acting as a bit of a wingman, because he's got 8 seconds worth of penalties now.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
With
8
Seb
seconds.
currently finishing P8. Yeah, you got a 5-second time penalty from the pit lane. With Seb currently finishing P6 to stay in championship contention. Tim needs 7th in the fastest lap, so right now he's safe. But with them penalties, actually, could bump him down behind Pleasurable. So Tim, yeah, I'm not actually sure about that because of the tiny gap between 1st and 7th. I'll actually get the time up now. Yeah, Pleasurable down in 7th is only 2.7 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah.
So Tim's going to drop out of championship contention.
Yeah, and he's
Because of how close this all is.
and really, but anything can happen right now with these very close margins. Anything can happen. Someone could go for an optimistic move, spin into the other car, and then someone else comes smashing into him. You know, everything can happen, as it normally does here in VRL.
Yeah, it's all getting. His teammate Tim, yet another Renault 1-2. But Luke always prowling. He got pole position. He was leading the race. Jumped at the pit stops, overtaken by Felix. The Renaults are getting a little bit too close for comfort right now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're happy to just stay there. Jamil with the fastest lap of the race.
Good lap by him.
Yeah, good lap by Jamil as he closes up to Avesta Racing in that fight for 12th position. How much then can them soft tyres help Andre Jamil now in the last 15 laps of this race?
Yeah, but I mean, at the front it's nail-biting stuff. I mean,
I can't get over how close this is.
I've been nervous before about league races. I mean, a fight for the wins, and at Baku especially, where 7,000 of separating everybody. But this is more intense. That championship fight, it looked like Sam had it in the bag basically, but everything could happen right now.
Anything could happen with drivers this close. One mistake. Phil's just made a mistake, gone a bit deep into turn 1. He could very easily lose that position. One mistake and a driver can go from 1st down to 7th. It's that easy. As a little bit further back, Moran goes down the inside of Sam. Unfortunately, we can't really focus on that battle. I can't get over. We got 7 cars within 3 seconds. Sorry, on the 22nd lap of this race. This is something you don't usually see on the first lap, let alone the 22nd.
Yeah, it's very much nail biting, and I would like to believe every one of these drivers will believe I am quicker than the guy in front of me. I want to pass him because they're just sticking with each other here. It might be because of DRS, but this is a massive.
Sure, DRS plays a part.
Yeah,
yeah, it just shows how close we all really are.
This is big entertainment. I must say, there's getting a little bit of a gap between Phil and Audible Gamer here.
Yeah,
but
Phil had actually made a mistake and got back up, or got really close to Audible Gamer at the start of this lap. He's clearly put his foot down, got a move on, and he's right up to the top 3 now.
Anyone could win this. I mean, he could still win this if he gets to move on.
Anyone in the top 7 could win it. Portugal's looking quite racy behind
Sam.
Very racy indeed behind Sam.
But you can see, even with the DRS here, I believe Sam has got a bit of or more ERS, or
Portugal's struggling with his
low
ERS
downforce. That could also be a factor here.
Well, most drivers will be preferring the lower drag setup because, you know, for a lot of this lap around the circuit de Interlagos, it's not actually called that, it's the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. For most of it, you're at full throttle. And little quiz for you, Sam. My Portuguese knowledge. I do speak Portuguese. What does Interlagos mean?
Is it? I believe it had something to do with a lake or a sea.
Yeah, it means between the 2 lakes because there's 2 big lakes on each side of this racetrack. So the more you know.
Yeah, especially that's what I mean.
But events here in Interlagos, just look at qualifying to see that. I think the rain's going to hold out, although we do have very overcast conditions.
Dylan did tell me it was going to stay dry.
Yeah, but you know, you can't always rely on that. Luke really close behind Tim now. Luke's going to start to get frustrated very soon because you know, he's going to feel he should be winning this race.
Yeah, and championship standings will be 140 points for Sam. Felix will be on 136 points, and Dafifa will be 117 points behind. So
it's all going to be really close. But a yellow flag, Dylan. So Dylan's been put out of his misery. Meanwhile, Jamil's got past the Vestal Racing.
he could move up to the top 10 if he gets a move on.
Yeah, he's got 5 seconds to PMP Cassie G, who's battling with Steve for the final points position. But you know, we're going to go back to this fight. The front, Felix starting to pull out a little bit of a gap to his teammate. That could start to cause a problem for Tim.
I'll tell you what, if Plausible wants to get past Sam here, he has to get his ERS management a little bit better under control, and he might have to go into hot lap if he wants to get this move done, or he might have to tactic just to say, I'm waiting, and then Dylan retiring from the session there. Article Gamer looking racy.
Yeah, very racy behind Philip Smith. Phil's had a good race so far, much better than last time out in USA. Can he make that step to the podium? Currently, right now, he will be making that step to the podium. With Tim, who's got Luke right behind him. They're pushing each other through the second sector. But yeah, still, Tim ahead of Luke, ahead of Phil. But right now, on penalties, Phil will move up to that final podium position.
He will. Ooh, a little bit loose there from Plausible. Who's the last scar of this whole big pack, and I believe he's conserving some energy, and so we can get the move done.
One thing to remember here, Artifact Gamer, who obviously made that incredible undercut strategy, he now, his tyres are gonna start to work the other way against him.
Yeah, and as you say that, he's made a massive mistake, going a little
at its finest.
Yeah. And
but yeah, his tyres are going
to
start to lose grip soon. They're 4 laps older than most of the guys surrounding him. Sam's right up his chuff now, and Plausible makes a little mistake there. But yeah, Luke's getting really racy behind Tim. Taking a little quote from our fellow F2 commentator Adensky.
Yeah.
Always doing a good job, so congratulations to Evan. Sam! He's out of the session, he's gone out on the right. So he's been battling with Moraine. He might have lost it on the curve, gone straight off. And
could pose some opportunities for Jamil to get to P10 or P11 here.
Or P9 of course is possible. He's closed already a second to PMP Cassie G, who's fighting with Steve. We'll have to see how that one goes. Nevertheless, back to the front. Phil's right up behind Luke actually. Will he go for a move now? He's close, he's really close. Doesn't go for a move, he sticks it around the outside.
Could be going for a move here though if he gets to get exit. I believe he's got a better exit than Luke there, but could it be good enough to go and make a move into turn 4, I believe?
Yeah, it's hard to make a move down into turn number 4. You got to be really close, especially if the car ahead has DRS. And yeah, just not quite enough there for Phil. Encouraging signs though, meanwhile, I think Felix would have just picked up a warning. He took a lot out of the inside curve of that double right-hander. So that might be a little thing to look at.
I believe Tim is the only one with penalties, right?
I'll check that right now, but yep. Felix has got 1 warning.
Oh!
Yeah, Tim.
Phil nearly lost the car there through the little turn where once Hamilton and Sirotkin came together, or nearly came together, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gathered that quite well, Phil. I don't think he's lost too much time, and he'll close back up in due course. But yeah, Tim's got 8 seconds of penalties, so that's not going to be beneficial at all. No. Luke, meanwhile, no warnings at all. And yeah, as we mentioned earlier, Plausible with a 5-second time penalty. Sam on 2 warnings, so he needs to be careful.
He does, and Felix had 1 or 2?
Felix has got 1 warning. 1, maybe 2, I can't remember. I'll check again. He has got 1 warning.
1 warning, so he's safe.
Yeah, Felix is in the driver's seat quite literally right now.
Yeah, it's nail-biting stuff here.
It really is, and yeah, it looks like Pleasurebal's right behind Sem now. Pleasureball might be going for a move here on the championship leader. This would put him in. This is not what Sem needs. I believe if he loses his position, he could end up being equal on points with Felix into the championship finale. It might be 1 point separating them. So Sem really needs to stay ahead here and do everything he can.
Pleasureball was did have a 5-second time penalty though, didn't he?
Of course, yeah. I knew you were going to bring that up. But yeah, of course he's got that 5-second time penalty, but nevertheless he can't lose time battling because if he drops out of this DRS train as it is, look at Moran, 18 seconds to Pleasureball, and he's losing time because they're just sat in the DRS.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just how crucial. And I still can't get over. We've got this race is absolutely flown by. We're going on to lap 30 in just a moment. The top 7 still separated by 2.5 seconds. It is something crazy. This is the closest racing I've seen in a long time. Will Tim get a little bit risky? Will Luke get racy? What can Phil offer to the table? There's so much going on. Will Tim be aware that he's about to drop out of championship contention if he does not get a move on?
It's nail-biting stuff here in Brazil.
It is nail-biting stuff. As R13 Gamer starting to drop off the back of Phil, that could be signs of his tyres starting to fade.
I must say right Felix might be struggling with his tyres right now.
Well, I'd be surprised if he is, you know. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres than Tim and Luke and Phil. So, you know, he's got the freshest tyres at the top 5, or at the top, well, he's got the freshest tyres in the top 10. So, I'd be surprised if he is struggling. I think maybe he's just trying to conserve as much ERS as possible. Because obviously, as we touched on earlier, that can be quite hard.
Ooh, Phil with a look on Luke. Coming up to the DRS straight here, massive DRS straight. Luke got a little bit wide there, and that's gonna compromise exit, but so has Phil got a little bit loose on exit as well, so that's gonna put them right equal once again. It's 2/10 between them for now. With the DRS open, what can he do? He has ERS mode in number 2, and I believe it's gonna be enough for a move here.
Yeah, Phil's been running a bit of a weird race today, if I'm honest. You know, he's closed up and then, you know, dropped back, and then closed up again and then dropped back, so I think Phil's actually got a lot of pace in the tank. We just haven't been able to see it yet because of this massive DRS trend.
Yes, that's what I would like to believe as well. Pleasureball's dropping behind, I must say.
Yeah, he's dropped to nearly a second back now, so that could be obviously stress relief for Sem. In terms of the championship, I don't think he's going to get it done today.
I don't think either. It will be the question if he will even get it done in Abu Dhabi, because that's going to be like, it's not. If it does go on to Abu Dhabi, it will not be one of them.
Oh,
yeah, I saw
Tim
that.
Got a really big slide. He could be out of DRS of his teammate. I think Felix might have slowed up slightly there to give Tim the DRS, but I'm not really sure what happened there. If that was because of a touch, but nevertheless, he's not going to have much of a toe. Is Tim? So Luke might be able to have a go now. This might be his best chance yet.
It could be, but I don't think it's enough. And I must say the final stages of the race are coming closer and closer, and Sem goes a little bit wide through or he goes a little bit loose to the Senasas there. And the gap.
Surprised R13 Gamer is still up in P5 on the 22 lap old medium tyres. He put them on lap 10, and he's still soldiering on through the race. Fair play to the Williams driver, picking up some good points so far. He was transferred to Williams in place of Jordan, TG Vaporium.
Yep.
He's doing a solid job so far. He's on to pick up P4 after Tim receives his penalties, so fair play. And I'm sure the Williams boys will be quite happy with that.
It would have been interesting to see what the race could have been if it wasn't for the low tendency rate we have right now. That could have been even bigger troubles for Sam. If there were more people here, obviously I'm talking about an Ash and UDF more, perhaps even a Marani if he was able to get into the DRS. You know, it's really close, but he's holding out just for now, and he will get a P5, I believe, if it stays like this with the penalties of Tim.
Is this Sam?
Yeah.
You're on about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he will provisionally. Tim started to close back up to Felix, so I'm not sure after that little mistake if he's put the foot down. He may have. We'll have to see. Because Plushable's actually closed back up to Sam. At the back of the track, not back of, sorry, back of the pack here, between 1st and 7th. It's all really tight. Can't imagine how intense this is for the drivers. One mistake and, you know, they're off. Felix will know about the championship. This is going to be absolutely massive for him if he can keep it. If he can keep it where he is.
Yeah. You know, to do it for another 2 laps here, I believe. Coming up to the finish line right now. I believe Tim is wing-manning. Yeah.
Wing-manning?
Wing-manning.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's all really close though. I think it's the top 3 separated by half a second now. I think if Tim wanted to go for a move on his teammate, he could, but we know they get on. We know that, you know, they're both mature drivers. I think they're happy to stay there 1 and 2, and it's going to be really frustrating someone like Luke, who arguably has the pace to get up into 2nd and maybe even into the lead. What's he going to have to say about that pit lane incident? Because that
I'm not sure what happened.
Right, basically Tim just almost straight lined it without breaking too much into the pit lane, got ahead of Luke, and that has held him up throughout the race. So could we have a little pit lane conspiracy, pitgate?
Yeah, pitgate.
Ahead of the drivers. You know, Tim, now I think about it, that could actually be something we may look into after the race. Tim not breaking at all for the pit lane, getting ahead of Luke, holding him up for what has been the whole race now.
But I mean, what could you do about it then? I mean, you can't give Luke an extra 5 seconds to finish ahead of Felix. Tim has already been punished. Do you want to punish him more, or I mean, that's the...
We'll have to see. I might request his footage at the end of the race, if this has been some tactical move. But, you know, that is for discussion between me and the stewards. Nevertheless, I don't think it's going to take away from Tim's drive today. He's done a good job. Felix as well has done a good job. We got just under 2 laps to go, sorry, in this penultimate round of VRL Season 4. Who's going to be the winner? Nothing is certain. Think back to the race here in GPRL Season 5. Dylan, who's now out of the race, he was leading, he led all racing with 2 laps to go. He spun at the Senna S and lost the lead and lost, I believe, his podium position. So, you know, just take an example from that, as anything can happen.
It could.
We go to the final lap now.
18 viewers watching. There's no binding end to a possible round that could change everything if we look back on it later after Season 4 is finished. It's been an amazing season thus far.
It has been an amazing season. Could this have been the turning point in the championship? Felix really closing up with thanks to our sponsors at Hot Lap Mode, providing us with the live standings. Currently only 3 points separating Felix and Sam with half a lap to go into the final round of the season. Will anyone get ballsy? Will anyone make a dive on Tim? He's gone a little bit deep. That may leave him vulnerable. I think he's going to be right. Plushable's now dropped off of Sam. And if I'm honest, I think this is going to be the finishing order, as we have just a few corners left to navigate.
Yeah, and it could be another twist in this already crazy championship fight here in Vrl. I mean, Faster Racing takes the fastest lap, but he is outside of the top 10, so that will be interesting to see who will take the fastest lap point. And we're now coming across the line here. I believe it's going to be Felix who's going to win the race and close down the championship fight. You see Tim dropping down all the way back to P6, and Sam's going to pick up 10 points here, I believe. The place where he qualified is the place where he's going to finish. And it's a victory for Felix, and Tim drops all the way down to P6. What a race. They were so close to each other.
So before this round, there was a 20-point gap between Sam and Felix, with Felix closing 15 points on Sam. There will be a 5-point gap going into the season finale.
That can be the difference between a victory and loss. And what if he has that extra 7 points in the bag in USA? It would have been. It wouldn't have been over, but it would have been over.
It would
like
have been 12 points.
It would have been very hard to make it up.
We look back at that as the turning point.
What may ever happen is gonna be another twist in his already crazy championship, which saw so many people lead. Highs, lows, everything. But for now, it's gonna be Felix on the top step of the podium, with Phil picking up third place here, and Luke in P2. Not the championship fight he would have asked for at the beginning of the season, but he perhaps may have helped his teammate here to keep that championship fight alive. And Renault, I believe, do outscore a Racing Point.
Yeah, they do. With first and sixth scoring, I believe, 32 points.
Yes, and I think that might have actually been enough to win the Constructors' Championship.
I mean, I'll have a look.
Renault has to gain 28 points on Racing Point to win the Constructors' Championship.
They did not gain 28 points.
They did not, and the championship fight for both constructors and drivers goes on for another race, and it's ready. We're ready for another tale here, another twist, another heartbreaking moment, or perhaps even another masterclass for many of these drivers here in Abu Dhabi. Could you send 4 people on invite here, please? Felix, Luke, and Phil, and Sam. You're gonna pay a rise. Yeah, and Sam, I want to hear what's going through his mind right now.
I can do. One little thing, great to see Phil back on the podium. It's not the win he was looking for, but nevertheless, I'm happy for him.
We are, and it's been a tough time for him this season. With the beginning of the season, a lot of downs. The middle of the season, he had quite a few ups, but in the end, he started to go down a little bit more. But he's gained a decent P3. I know that sounds rude, but he's been fairly invisible in this race. But he got the job done, and 15 points go to his points tally.
What is Luke's PSN?
Livered Racing Luke, 95, I believe.
Is it an underscore?
Yeah, underscore. Nice.
Got in. And Felix, of course,
yeah.
Race winner.
Fantastically done by him. And then with that race, I believe Marine and Steve are now officially eliminated from the championship fight, sadly for them, as Steve finished outside the top 10 even. And I will now go to invite the people who you have suggested. Oh, Livered Racing, Sam.
Well, that was a really intense race. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I don't think it really blew up as I maybe expected it to, but I had me and I should hope everyone else in the viewers in the YouTube live stream absolutely on the edge of their seats.
And perhaps even more important than this race was the championship fight going into Abu Dhabi, which set it up beautifully, as Felix won the race, joins the party first as well. We have Luke in P2 joining the party second, ironically enough. Hello, welcome to the post-race interviews. As we still waiting
it's still on the podium.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so Felix, I'll start with you as you won the race here today. I mean, you've kept this fire alive until the very end here. What are your thoughts on this race and also the championship fight going into Abu Dhabi?
Well, it was a really good race for me, no mistakes at all. There was one, I don't know, moment where a car was standing on the middle of the track and it didn't go for me, so I had to go off, nearly got overtaken by Luke. But overall, it was a good race. Congrats to Luca and Phil, who, well, they stayed with me and Tim until the very end. So that was that.
Yeah,
He was all really close, Felix. Throughout the majority of that second stint, you know, we had the top 7 cars separated by 2 seconds at one point. What was it like leading that pack and managing ERS, which is really harder on this circuit? How did you do it?
Well, for some occasions when Tim was like 7/10 behind, I would just go low ERS and low fuel, so I could save some more. But overall, it was just Tim who helped me. He managed the gap. He told me he had 8 seconds of penalty, so he was playing the team game, and I'm thankful for him because maybe Luke would have overtaken me if Tim wasn't there. So, thanks.
And was the plan always for Tim to stay behind?
Not necessarily, but as soon as, well, when he got his 5-second penalty, it was kind of like that.
Yeah, and I would like to take it back to the moment for me you perhaps won the race. After that pit stop, you came just ahead of everybody. Did you think that won you? Do you think that won you the race?
That might. I think that was what gave me the win today. Yeah, not much else to say about it, but yeah.
How are you feeling going into Abu Dhabi as you are 5 points behind Sam? Do you think you can carry this momentum through and take the championship in Abu Dhabi?
I think I've shown what my pace is like these last few rounds, and I will continue to keep up this pace and prepare well for Abu Dhabi.
You will be putting in some laps in Tom Chaw and Grand Prix mode then?
Yes.
For sure. Then moving on to your rival's teammate, Luke. Congratulations on your P2 there. Just a quick question before we get onto your race. Did you have the championship of your teammate in your mind there, or was that not a factor?
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to catch Felix very badly, but yeah, that was smart from the Renault boys to keep Tim in front of me so I couldn't come close to Felix.
And do you believe you lost this race in the pit stops, or?
Yes, I think I did, but yeah, of course you can't know if the traffic out of my outlap, out of the pitch, if it wasn't there, that Felix would have been behind me, because in front, like when we entered the pitch, he was in front of me, so we'll never know if.
Yeah.
But I think he deserved it today, so.
Yeah, and Luke, do you just briefly mention this to Sam during the race? Do you have any comments on the interesting tactics, let's say, of Tim almost straight lining that pit lane entry to get out in front of you? Do you have anything to comment on that?
No, I think I braked really early to not get a penalty for speeding, and I think he told me that he wasn't expecting that, so he almost ran into the back of me. And yeah, that's why he got the 5-second penalty.
So you don't have any suspicions from him then?
No.
Okay then. Congratulations on your P2. That you've managed to get 2 podiums out of 2 races. Congratulations on that. Moving on to someone who did get pole in USA last season. Didn't get the podium though, but now you didn't get pole, but you have the podium. Phil, congratulations on your P3 there. Bit of an invisible race, but can you just talk us through the race?
Yeah, at the start I had a decent start compared to the one at USA, and Sem nearly got. I was thinking about going down the inside of Tim, I think it was, but Sem went around my outside, so I had to cover that off. And the first stint really was, it's quite easy. DRS train on this game is a joke. I couldn't pass anyone. I just had to stick with Tim, I think it was at that point, and then when we went into the pits, I don't know what Tim was doing, but he could have ended both him and Luke's races right there. I thought they got damaged, so I was I thought I could have got P2, but no. But then in the second stint, it was again Benjamin did a massive undercut. I don't know how he took those tyres, 28 laps or whatever they were, but yeah, it was just about staying in the train. And Marion told me on team radio that Tim had a penalty. So I mean, I couldn't really pass Luke with the DRS train. He always pulled away on the straight a little bit. So yeah, it was a good race though. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So you're satisfied or disappointed?
Yeah, I'm happy. I was disappointed in my qualifying. In practice, I was doing banker laps of 7.8, so yeah, disappointed that I messed up the first sector massively. Could have got pole, but you know what? We'll try again for Abu Dhabi.
And Phil, obviously, much better race pace from you last week. You know, you've sort of done the opposite of what you did last week and climbed the grid. What changed?
Well, last weekend I had massive setup problems. I think my setup was just absolutely shocking for the race. Whenever I broke, I needed to brake, 20 meters early every time, and I still didn't make the braking points. But this race, I think my setup was more mutual between quali and race, and yeah, that helped me just. Usually in the position where I'm behind someone, I usually bottled it. But yeah, I didn't do that today, so I'm fairly happy.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Welcome back to the podium.
Cheers.
And just something, obviously, as you just said, you were on team radio with your teammate there. He's not in the party right now, but do you know what the issue he had? He was finished 8th, I believe, and he was not able to get onto the DRS train you mentioned earlier.
Well, yeah, he had a poor start, and he got into a battle with Sam, and Sam was being really aggressive with him. I didn't obviously see his POV, but he was slightly annoyed with how aggressive Sam was being, and it just dropped him off. Sadly, with Marion, I didn't think he had the pace today completely but I think if he stayed in the DRS train, he would have been, he could have got a top 6 or top 5 finish if he got on the DRS train, but it shows what a good driver in Marion is. When you don't have the pace, he's always in the points, and you know what, that's a credit to him, really.
Yeah. And one more, Alex, did you also invite Sam already, or?
Yeah, he's not invited. I don't think he's
Oh, no, I didn't get the notification to actually suggest him, so I'll just do it now. I hope he's offline. You can leave if you want, but congratulations to all of you. You entertained us very much, and congratulations on your decent results there.
Cheers, GG Felix.
Yeah, he just doesn't reply in mind games.
That's alright.
I believe I'm not sure if Sam's still online, so I think we are just gonna end it off there and then. Perhaps we could get some codes in on the Instagram or Twitter there, but for now we're gonna end off the stream. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.